Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Out of the Park Baseball 21, episode number 28. We're pushing into our preseason. Games are going to get started pretty soon, and I've done all or most of the prep work that we're going to do heading into the season already. And now we have our results on Hall of Fame voting. A little surprised here. For one thing, Alex Rodriguez was not 100%. 97, though, is pretty dang good. Instant Hall of Fame induction. Really surprised, though, that David Ortiz, I knew he was going to get a lot of votes. I really didn't think that he was going to get even half of what he ended up with. I thought maybe he'd get 25 or 30% in the first year. 77. I didn't. I was one of the 23%. Manny Ramirez still at just 46%. Sheffield at 31%. Not looking good for him with only 2 years left on the ballot. Manny Ramirez has a decent chance with 4 years still to go. Jimmy Rollins, 25%, and Joe Nathan, 24%. Nathan got a lot of saves, but his numbers aren't that great, actually, considering how many saves he's earned. Todd Helton's still at 23%. Sosa is dropped after 10 years, just 21% for him. Wagner's no chance. Hudson, Kent, no chance. Teixeira, 14%, surprisingly high for a guy who never put up big numbers. Was just a big name because he played for the Yankees. Papelbon, to me, there's no difference between him and Nathan. Their numbers very similar. And Carl Crawford, Los, neither one got the 5% needed. And really surprised that Facero, Przinski, that they're still in there at all. Burley, I would think, would have a couple percent more, but you can see a lot of guys that are probably on their way out. Just today, we actually re-signed Zach Davies, who did not have a very good season. He was 6-13, 5.54. But the big thing was a year ago, we paid him $10.5 million on a 1-year deal, and he was initially looking for pretty big money, $12-13 million. But once we got through the off-season aways and nobody had come in, we ended up signing him for $2.6 million. So that, compared to a year ago, is a steal, and he's worth that if he doesn't make it. It's not a big deal. He's not coming in as our top guy, so excited by that. Outside of that, we have not really gone into the free agency market at all. But I have made a couple of trades. I made 3 or 4 Rule 5 acquisitions, and then come to find that a couple of them, while close, weren't going to be good enough, and already sent them packing, packaged with one of my guys who was not good enough, not going to make it. And so we've picked up some good prospects and or somebody who could contribute now. Croft was one of those trades, so we get a 4-star closer in Croft. Binns has been promoted because we traded away. In fact, here we go. So brought in some more minor league talent, potential talent. Not sure if those guys are going to be good enough or not. Made some roster moves. And let's see here. Okay, yeah, here's one of them. So we traded Colton Welker. That was somebody we brought in Rule 5 draft. But we did trade away Tom Murphy. So 30-year-old catcher, just 2.5 star. He was the starter a couple seasons back. 2 seasons ago, he started a majority of the games. But with Cal Raleigh coming through, he definitely wasn't good enough. And even though he's not making a ton of money or anything, it's on a surplus to requirement. So what we got back is Trevor Larnack. Larnack is a right fielder, current 2.5 star, potential 3.5 star. So we got a high potential guy who's not far off, and we were able to get a throw in replacement catcher for the depth, 1.5 star guy. Yakonski is a minor leaguer that we just signed, who's got a little bit of potential. Mangden was another one. Mangden, Rule 5 pickup, ended up only being a 2-star guy, and but him along with Kyle Lewis, so there's one of those. So Lewis last season spent the whole year, or most, I guess he only ended up playing 5 games. Pretty late season call up, but he's only a 2.5 star potential guy. So he played a good amount of games the year before, but as we added in talent, he just wasn't going to be good enough. So like I said, we had surplus at left field, and I've added more chaff for the fodder. That there's too much. But it was for him that we picked up Josh Croft. We also were able to add in an additional one in Leo Crawford. So just adding a little bit more. Likewise, we picked up Scott Kingery, 3-star guy, second baseman, so added a bit of depth there. And yeah, it's I think all things considered, it's been a fairly good offseason for us, considering there wasn't any big marquee signings available for us to go after. With that, absence. Charlie Morton, I'd love to pick him, but he wants a bunch of money, and he's 38 years old. After that, it's Kyle Seager, left, who's looking for something. I'm
on it.
Okay, apparently Siri wants to get Kyle Seager. Wants to get him back. But let's do summary by team and kind of see where we are at this point. All right, so Zach Davies coming in. A lot of guys without the wins above replacement. Kingery, 2.6 though. Croft, a 0.6. So 3.2 overall. But we got rid of Murphy, who was a -1. Lewis, who was a basic negative. And then the only thing we lost, really, was Seager. So we do have a slight positive right now, which is 6th, 2.2 overall. And Seager is the only thing. And I wonder if maybe we look to see. I mean, we know exactly what Seager is worth. He's looking for money. Is he actually looking for that money? He is, and looking for multiple years. So no. I think we are very much better off without him. Yeah, okay. That actually isn't bad. I'm starting to get scouting feedback. I've been kind of looking around in some areas. There's definitely some names around here, but it's going to be really hard to make too many moves happen. Stopper player has been kind of my main tool of late. De Los Reyes, I threw him in to protect him for Rule 5 just because of the high potential. I'm kind of getting the impression that he's really not that high of potential. OSA sees him pretty highly, and I've been trying to get some updates on scouting. And yeah, I have average view. My head scout thinks he's really not going to develop terribly well any longer. He's currently at West Virginia at our single A club. But we do see him as having some potential. But now that he's on my 40-man, half tempted to do something. Rodriguez still seen as a top prospect. Looks like we've had a bit of a re-eval of... Oh, no. This is head scout ratings versus OSA. Kikuchi is somebody I'm ready to move on from. But it's been a little problematic to be able to try to get rid of him. Nobody really wants a 30-year-old overpaid pitcher who's basically a long reliever. But in our strength overview, really break it down to where I'm kind of middle of the pack with a number of positions. And I think my biggest weakness is first base. Evan White, 18th in the league. It's not that bad, actually. But we don't have anything coming up soon. He's the one who came up. I mean, that's kind of what we're on. But Kingery gives us a little boost at second base. Third base I was really worried about, but Shedlong has transferred over there. Helped us out a bit. Decent at short. Left field. Still a bit of a weakness there. Cal Mitchell has added to our depth issue at left field, as that was another Rule 5 pickup that I just couldn't pass on. I let him go through the first few rounds, and when he was still there, after that he was the highest potential guy that we saw. Let's see just how high we are with Kalinic. Pitching's definitely my weakness right now. Starters especially. Relievers are good. Okay. Closer. But this is how we're looking right now. We've got 31 players on the active roster. And we've got Croft, Kalinic, Edwards, Hernandez. So a lot of relievers before we finally get to Ray. And then DeJong, Dowie, Fletcher, so again relievers, and then Kingery and McKinstry. So we've got good depth at second now. Cal Raleigh, pretty good for a catcher. Richards, so that's 2 starters. Rojas, Skubal, along with great potential there. I think we brought Skubal in last season. No. We got him through a trade or something. Allen, there's Rule 5 pickup. 2.5, 3-star guy. Not quite good enough. He's a starter, actually, not a reliever. Though he doesn't have great stamina. So we brought him up in the Rule 5 and may or may not move on from him. It looks like he's not going to be good enough. He would be a long reliever this season, and without tremendous potential, I think that's trade bait we can afford to part ways with. Florial could be moved on, but we might hang on to him. Fraley, I'll definitely keep. Though he didn't have a great season, hopefully he'll continue to develop. Gilbao, somebody we could potentially part ways with. There's Javier, doesn't have great power, but he's got good stuff. Shed Long has transferred over to third, not living up to the potential he had. And there's Cal Mitchell, so that's where we kind of have that extra left field depth, which means maybe Malik Smith, time to move on. His contact isn't that great. He's a good fielder, but he's hitting 248. So maybe a Malik Smith, who's 28, and a Gilbao, Logan Allen. Those are probably the pieces, and Tui Vayala. Those are the ones to part ways. So I've got about 4 guys, so maybe 2 more deals, which would cut me down to about 29 players, unless I get prospects coming back. But I've taken care largely our rosters. We've got a few guys up right now, but we're up to 23, 27, 30, 34, 43, 60, and 35. So it's spread out a lot more than before. Got more pitchers at every level. It's a bit more balanced. But I've had 3-4 guys either involved in trades or currently up on the active roster. So we're not quite set on our minor league roster, but we are getting much, much closer than before. And I'm down to maybe a couple more trades to go as we start to push forward. And 1.5, 3.5 star potential. I like that. I don't have much knowledge on him. I'd certainly like to get my hands on this guy. Can we do to get this Emerson Hancock guy? Well, I have 2 players that I'm looking at. For one thing, De Los Reyes, I don't think is as good. Yeah. And he's only a 2-star kind of guy, so I wonder if we can swap this. Okay, they don't like him. But who else was I looking at? Okay, still nothing. But now, getting into the guys I don't necessarily want to get rid of, so down to prospects. And we'll go for somebody a little on the older side. Okay, yeah, we're not getting anywhere with that. I need to just use shop a player as my go-to We're going to take a De Los Reyes and Tui and start with that pairing. Wasting a 40-man roster spot on De Los Reyes. Look, and there's people willing to give us something for them. Tui's a 2.5-star guy right now. Here's a 3.5. That's 25. There's a 3.3, but he's 29. So a 3.3, that's 30. Oh, he's got terrible stuff though. Almost every team's willing to give us something for these guys. So that's a good start. 26-year-old third baseman. '26-year-old left fielder. Pittsburgh seems to be willing to give us a little more. But those guys don't actually look that good, do they? Okay, first baseman, who's a 2.5, 3-star guy. That's where I'm leaning right now, Minnesota. 2.5, 3 first baseman. Not the strongest offer we've had. It's better than that reliever. Right fielder, 2.5, 3. Not good contact. You'd think he's a big-time player, but he's just not looking like it. Okay, Arizona, that's a bit of a better option right there. But he's 30. So, let's take a look at the Minnesota offer. Minnesota. Okay, Brent Rooker, that's average, so that's a decent look. Got some definite home run power. He's okay at first base. We don't know squat about him, so you gotta trust their ratings. He's close to the major leagues now, but he wouldn't be on the 40-man roster. Yeah, let's pull the trigger. We'll do it. We re-sign Tui Vayala. And De Los Reyes was just filling a spot that we don't need filled. Okay, they like the deal. I like that we're saving $3 million. See if we can grab a prospect with it. Second base is something really bad for us. No, if we can't even get a 1.5 star guy, then we're not going to get anything else. Alright, there's the deal. It's done. So that cuts us down by one more. And then brings me down to 35, and he's not going on the on the 40 man. Those two are fine. They're developing players. That's the one I'd really like to get rid of, but I don't think anybody wants him. Oh, shop a player. There you go. Okay. Maybe a Alex Smith. With Kikuchi package. Nothing. Kikuchi's the real issue. Nobody wants him. In which case, we go back to that drawing board, pull him off of there, and go bow. Alright. Now, I don't need a replacement at either of these positions. They are both surplus. So, best prospect we can get. What I'm leaning towards. Sander Bogarts is available. And there's that Rodriguez guy again. They're both overpaid veterans. Bogarts would have been great a couple seasons ago, but okay, we've got a quality cheap reliever. Archie Bradley. Pretty good stuff. Seeing a lot of the same guys I've already seen on previous potential offers. Guys that teams are ready to move away from. Bradley was a free agent. Who I was looking at. Maybe I can take just prospects. What happens if we unselect regulars? I like both of these guys, but I don't like the money involved. I already have 2 3-star shortstops. Bogarts is dropping off, even though he's only 29. Yeah, Rodriguez may or may not be good, but he doesn't have much stuff. He's just kind of balanced across the board. So if we just shop for prospects, what do we get? Okay, there are some options. Yes, indeed. 2.5 catcher. Looking at potential here. Is there anybody who's... Okay, a 2-3 shortstop. That was the only 3 I saw, right? Other than this reliever. And that doesn't really count. So, Kevin Smith, could you direct a movie for me? Okay, we've got average knowledge. He's pretty balanced. He's got some potential. He's more of a third baseman than a short, but he's a good fielder. He's already been at AAA for 1 full season, where he hit 280. I think that's a good enough deal. I mean, we're losing Alex Smith, I know, but Smith is 2.5, isn't he? Where are you? Yeah, 2.5. And while he's good defense and tremendous speed, that's all he is. That's his game. Defense and stolen bases. He doesn't actually get on the base very often, and that's something I really need to improve. Kevin Smith, 3-star potential, and gets rid of another almost $4 million. So there you go. Deal's done. I think I'm ready to get into the season itself now. And spring training, still a couple weeks away. I'm going to go all the way till opening day to get that next episode started. I think my roster is just about set now. I actually have almost enough depth throughout the squad. All those red circles that we used to have, we're down to just 1 in prospects at second base. Got a few blue dots too. I mean, we were horrendous just a couple seasons back. It's good to see that I'm actually filling it out now. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.